Hey guys, it's Alan, the Fireman 1028, and today I'm back with our new to us 2022 Honda CRF300L. Currently set up in the Supermoto setup, and we're out here on the Blue Ridge Parkway outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and what we're doing today is we're kind of setting a baseline for this motorcycle with the stock power levels, and just kind of seeing and kind of getting a feel for it, and just cars driving by, kind of get a feel for it and see how it rides, what kind of power levels it puts down before we start adding power to the bike. I've already had a conversation with Maverick at 550 Performance. Maverick, you guys are awesome. I got a box on the way that's going to have some cool power parts, and we're going to start adding power to this bike, which is what it's going to do, is it's going to start bringing down the power to weight ratio to get it as close to the 390 Enduro R that we can. We're never going to reach the same horsepower, but we're not trying to. We're trying to reach the same power to weight ratio, or as close to it as possible, and then have those two bikes be, I mean, literally apples to apples comparison between the two of them. Roughly the same size, but this is about 60 pounds lighter. So we don't need the same horsepower to get the same levels of performance out of the bike. So, like I said, this is going to be just a good baseline run. It's a beautiful day up here. It's about 75 degrees. This is an early fall day. So we're going to go ride. We're going to talk about the bike. I'm going to give my impressions. We're going to kind of romp on it a little bit. We'll see how it does. And then that gives us a really good baseline. And then we can start adding from there. So if you see anything that you like, comment, subscribe to the video or to the channel. And enjoy the video, share the video. If anybody likes Supermotos or 300Ls or just likes Blue Ridge Parkway, whatever, I don't care why you share it, but just share it. It really helps the algorithm. So thank you guys for watching, and let's get riding. All right, guys, so we're going to set off here on the Blue Ridge Parkway on our 2022 Honda CRF300L, currently in Supermoto trim. And like I said, the idea here is to really just get a good baseline of how the bike, how it lays down the power that it has, which is not much, how it performs, different RPM ranges, how it handles. I mean, like I said, this is going to be a competitor for the 390. We've got tons of seat time on it, so now it's time to get some seat time on this bike and really kind of see how it performs compared to that one. So, I was doing a lot of looking at dyno graphs. So 550 Performance, they got a bunch of dyno graphs themselves of what the 300L will do, and from different levels. From the I mean, literally, they got one that's like it's stock. It's just stock with high octane gas, and then they got stage 1, and then 1.5, and then 2, and 3, 3.5, and 4. I mean, they got a ton of stages, as well as be prepared to stop, as well as dyno graphs to back up all their numbers, and which is really awesome. We're going to be behind a pilot truck. What are those? Oh, it's just little tree saplings. So, oh, this is the new bridge. Okay, so first time on the new bridge. Look at that. Check that out. So we're crossing over I-26 right here on the new bridge. If you ever come up I-26 going towards Asheville, you see that huge tall bridge? This is it right here. That's really cool. That's very cool. Awesome. New bridge. So, like I said, they've got tons of graphs that show the different power levels, and we'll show those in a future video. Of again, we're not trying to match the power. We're just trying to match the power to weight ratio. And really, after stage 1, you're pretty close. I mean, you're within a pound of the same performance level, which is pretty daggum cool. And
we get some open road here. It's a beautiful Friday, and this is, you know, early fall, so I imagine there's gonna be lots of onlookers up here. And plus, I mean, the Blue Ridge Parkway is not a road that you go rip ass on anyway. So this is just a, you know, it was just a beautiful place to come up to. I was close by for the day. I was just doing some work up here. It's like, you know, I'm gonna bring the bike with me. So to give you a recap of this bike, so we literally just picked this up not too long ago, and it's a 2022 300L, and the gentleman James that I bought it from, he put the Supermoto wheels on it, and he said the previous owner, who was the first owner, so I'm the third, so the previous owner put the suspension work on it, and I'm going to be interested to take those forks apart and to see what's actually inside the forks, because it doesn't feel like RaceTech springs or gold valves or anything. So he said it had the whole kit from CRF only. CRF only is also going to be a part of this this project. So, you know, CRFonly.com. Check out those guys. So anyway, but like I said, so the only you know, quote unquote performance mod on this bike is just the resonator was taken out of the exhaust, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't actually do anything; just makes it a little bit louder. No big deal. But so it is a. I wanted this one, like I said, because it's already had some parts. You know, already had some parts put on it with the suspension and this is Supermoto wheels, which we plan on getting Supermoto wheels for the 390 Enduro. But the engine was bone stock; it hadn't been touched. That way, we can take a stock bike, we can compare the two bikes, stock for stock, and then start adding power and see if we can bridge the gap between the two bikes, on road and off road. Now, the 390 Enduro is currently out of service because I got a rear brake rotor that has completely warped and almost will not even allow the wheel to turn. So, there's that. Hello, fellow motorcyclists. Hello. Deuces, homie. Deuces indeed. So this section, if you look around, you see this section of the Blue Ridge Parkway was devastated by Hurricane Helene. It came right through western North Carolina, which is a 1-year anniversary just a couple days ago, as a matter of fact. It came right through western North Carolina. I mean, and it truly just devastated the whole area. And there's actually sections of the Blue Ridge Parkway that are not open yet, so we're going to ride it. We're going to ride it as far as we can, which I think this way is only about 10 miles over to the Folk Center, and then we'll have to turn around and head back. But yeah, I mean, you'll see a ton of trees down, and there's just damage and debris. 1 year later, there's still debris. So all right. So right now, let's talk about the bike. So right now we're in 6th gear, going up a little hill, top gear, and we're turning a little over 5,000 RPM. Why are you slowing down? We're turning just over. Well, we were turning over 5,000 RPM, and then this doofus decided to slow down. All right, so the package that Maverick at 550 Performance is sending us, it looks like he's sending us straight to the stage 1. We're going to skip the stock improved, and I told him, I said, hey, look, I said, you decide the power figures that you want, or how you want us to apply your products to it. And he sent me everything free of charge, so I got to give him a huge shout out. And so that video, I'll have to make sure we get all that stuff worked out on the front end, but he's sending me everything free of charge. We are going to actually have a Zoom call together to talk about not only the power bands of the 300L, but then I've got a dyno chart of the 390 Enduro, and just kind of talk and compare the power bands at different RPM ranges. That's the thing. So I was going through and I was looking at his different graphs, and I was looking at the Cycle World's got one that they did on the 24 Spark Pillion 401, which actually is the exact same engine. I mean, literally, it's the exact same engine, same tune, everything as what is in the 25 390 Enduro. And so that was kind of, look at this area right here. So that was kind of my baseline for the power figures. And at certain RPMs, you're only like, 1 or 2 horsepower off, if not the same. The 390 Enduro R makes all of its power, or makes its peak power at over 9,000 RPM, which, according to the dyno, is about 38 horsepower. Now, they claim 44, but that's at the crank. So actually, at the wheels on a dyno, 38 horsepower. Which, I mean, the math is somewhere around 15% loss transferring it to the wheels, so that the math kind of works out. And same thing with a Honda. They say 26, and actually puts down about 19, something like that, to the wheels. So, the math is mathing. But at, say, I just use 6,000 RPM as an arbitrary number, and with just the stage 1, they're within a couple horsepower. Now, I haven't gone back and actually done the math to see what the power to weight ratio is at those specific RPMs. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not going to ride a bike at 9,000 RPM off-road. I'm just not going to do it. So that peak power number really doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. It's where are you going to be using the power. So, like I said, I just use 6,000 as just an arbitrary number to just kind of to give a more comparison. Now, in the KTM's defense, their power band really steps up from 6 to 7. I mean, it really takes a big jump from like 25 horsepower up to like almost 30 just in 1,000 RPM range. But again, I'm not riding the bike at 10,000, 9,000 RPM. I'm going to ride it at 5 or 6 or maybe even 7. And so you're not screaming the engine next to redline just to get peak power. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this project here, and to see if we can get the 300L in line with the 390 Enduro. So it's gonna be really fun. And then, like I said, we're trying to procure some Supermoto wheels for the 390 Enduro, which shouldn't be hard because they got a model that makes them. I don't think eBay is going to have them anytime soon, but if I need to go the route to have my dealer, Carolina KTM, have him order some, I can do that as well. So, yeah, like I said, this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun on the build. Again, I'm not new to the Hondas. I had a 250L, I had a 300L Rally, and the 300L Rally, if you're new to the channel, the 300L Rally I had a couple years ago, really before I started making my YouTube videos, and actually that was going to be the start of it, and things didn't go well. So, and I'll try to put a video link up somewhere right here where the suspension on that bike was so bad. Bryce, who's Rich's son, who we ride with, he's Speedy B, all gas, no brains. He was actually behind me, so he recorded it. But I come over a berm or a bank or a hill at Enery, and the rear end bounced so hard it bounced all the way to the left. And my foot got caught up against a berm right there. My foot went that way, and the rest of my body kept going that way. And it broke my tibia and my fibula, tore a bunch of tendons and ligaments and stuff like that. And I'll put an X-ray up somewhere right up here to show you what the results of that was. So now the lack of talent really factored into that, but the suspension was so bad, and it really it didn't help. Let's put it that way. So. The suspension was terrible on that one. So it really attracted me to this one, the fact that the suspension had already been done. So that was really cool to see. Power-wise, I really never had an issue with the power of the 300L Rally. I took it on a couple road trips, and you know, the power is adequate. Just like here, the power is adequate. The 250L struggled. I couldn't even do, you know, 55, 60 miles an hour without having the throttle pinned. But you're talking 15, 16 horsepower versus, you know, the 25, 26, whatever this one is, or 20, you know, a little over 20 at the dyno. Which doesn't sound like a lot of horsepower, but for a bike this size, it's really all you need. So with the suspension being done on this bike, again, it was the CRF only RaceTech kit, which is, and I'll put a picture up right here of what their kit includes. It's the RaceTech front springs and RaceTech gold valve emulators, and the RaceTech rear shock. Now they got two of them. They got a more high spec, and then they got the regular stock. And I think this is the regular. He said it was sprung for 200 pounds, but again, I was like, it seems a little soft. Of course, I haven't really played with the preload either, so maybe it is, and I just haven't messed with it enough. Here's the Swananoa River. Look at this view right here. My gosh, isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? It's a Penske spring and the RaceTech shock. So you know, good quality components. The suspension on the 390 Enduro R is honestly one of the highlights of the bike. Is that it's a really high quality. Let me rephrase that. It's really good components for the price point. How about that? Is it top of the line WP Explorer? No. But for what the price point is, it's good components. So you know that's gotta go for something, and that's where we needed a bike that was already close to it suspension wise, and that's what we got in this bike here. So again, the bike only has 3,669 miles. I mean, so it does not have a ton of miles on the bike. Which again, it's not ragged out, anything else. He's getting off. All right, maybe we'll be able to give it the beans a little bit. Just a bit, not a lot, just a bit. All right, let's see what we can do here. There was a false neutral. That's a first. Oh, parkway's closed. Oh, no, okay, parkway is closed. Okay. Yeah, so this section is open. This was closed last time I was up here in May. And maybe this is going to be the section that we're going to ride. There's the Folk Art Center. Yeah, this whole section here was closed last time I was up this way. So now that you got a little bit of speed on the bike, it's and this is a 45 mile an hour zone, so we can give it a little something. Again, the suspension's been done, so it's comparable to what the hold up, buddy, hold up, stay on your side. It's comparable to what the now. Okay, so we're going up this hill, sixth gear. Top speed, full throttle right now, and we are building speed. Now again, looking at the dyno graph, 5,000 to 6,000 is where the got some good turns. 5,000 to 6,000 is where the 300L starts to make its power. Now peak power is a lot lower than what the KTM is, by at least 1,000 RPM, and peak torque is equally lower. So it's and again, peak numbers are not necessarily what I'm interested in. I do like the suspension though. The suspension feels really good. I'm not interested in peak numbers. I'm interested in what's the power and the RPM range that I'm going to be running the bike in. That 6,000 to 7,000 RPM range. That's where I'm going to be running this bike, and that's where I want to see where the power comes in at. And and get past the stage one, and the Honda's actually pretty daggone close. So here's this section here. This whole section had washed away right here. See this? This whole mountainside had washed away. So that's why the road was closed here. Yeah, so these Supermoto wheels, the rear shock feels soft. I'd be interested to see what the actual spring rate is. It feels like maybe it's sprung for, 180 maybe. Now this speed here, this is a really good speed. Of course, that shift light is set way low. 8,000 RPM, going 65 in 5th gear. This nice little section of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Looks like we got it to ourselves. So just kind of seeing how this Supermoto does. Now they did get a bunch of rain here overnight, so the road's mostly dry, but there's still some wet spots, so we'll take it easy a little bit. Yeah, it looks like we got this section of road to ourselves. Cars on the side. Oh, this is beautiful. This bike is nice. This stock seat, you can see there's another big landslide right there. Look at that. This is again, we're barely over. We're just over a year later. So it's wild how what Mother Nature can do. Yeah, so this Supermoto setup feels really planted. The springs might be soft, but I can tell the valving's there. This thing feels really good and planted around the curves. So we definitely know that we have the RaceTech setup in there. We just don't know to what extent or what the spring rates are. But these Supermoto wheels. There's another washout right there. These Supermoto wheels feel really good. I'm very pleased with this. Let's slow it down because we don't know what's around that curve there. And then once we get the Supermoto wheels for the 390 Enduro, then we can have some fun and really do some comparison. And of course, we do have dirt wheels. There's another big landslide right there. We do have dirt wheels for this bike. Look at that! Wow. You can see. I mean, look at that. That is incredible. That is incredible. We do have dirt wheels for this bike, and we're going to put them on. And honestly, if the weather will cooperate, we may end up doing our first dirt test with this bike, maybe this weekend. Look at this view. Look at this. This is gorgeous. Wow, this is beautiful. This is Craven Gap. Ah, this was what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for here. Look at that. How gorgeous is this? Hey, fellow motorcyclists. Deuces, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A little bit of counter lean. There we go. Hell yeah. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Hold up, baby. Woo. Let's keep on riding. This is too nice to stop. I want to put my 360 camera on, but I don't want to stop. Now we'll also have a really good CRF300L versus KLX300 comparison. My buddy Rich, Warfield Studios, RW Studios, he has the KLX300, and actually in a couple days from now, by the time you see this video, that video will already have been out, is the 390 Enduro versus KLX300 on-road test. Gentlemen, what's up? That test will already be out, and that's a long video. Holy moly. We went to Little Switzerland, North Carolina, and filmed that one, and had an absolute blast doing it. Matter of fact, let's pull over right here. Guys, I'll be back with you here shortly. So one thing I'm really coming to appreciate on this bike here, I didn't want to scare her, but coming behind her, she took a picture for me. The one thing I'm coming to appreciate with this bike versus the 390 that I can already tell you, and we haven't even really started comparison, is the weight. Just moving and rolling this bike around and just kind of manipulating it and getting it in position, the difference in the weight is, I mean, it is substantial. You know, I've got 4 rescue dogs, and I can put it in terms of dogs. This bike is basically like to make this bike weigh as much as the 390 does, is you need to take a 55-pound bag of dog food plus another 10-pound bag of dog food and strap it to your back, and there's the additional weight. This bike is so much lighter than the 390 Enduro, and again, the 390 Enduro has a lot more power, but only in certain areas of the RPM. So not saying, I know it sounds like I'm trying to make this bike the winner automatically, but I'm not. I'm trying to give comparisons because you know, the price point that 390 Enduro came out, it was a strong price point, and I just want to be able to show what's out there of either buying a new 300L or buying a used one. Buying a used one for, you know, I paid $4,000 for this bike here with all the mods on it. So, you know, and this model has been out long enough now where I'm sure there's models, you know, they're out there like this one here that has been pretty well tricked out, that, you know, you don't pay for mods in the aftermarket. What are you doing? What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You don't pay for mods in the aftermarket, so you could pick up a used 300L for, you know, for $4,000 that's already been pretty well done over, and have a bike that competes or can beat the 390 Enduro. Like I said, I'm really impressed. Please pull over. There you go. There you go, love. There you go. Good man, good man, good man, good man, good man. So, you know, you'll have a bike that compete with the new offerings, and then, you know, I mean, even though the Honda's made in Thailand, there's still a certain premium to a bike that's made by Honda versus one that's made by KTM. That just is a fact. So, you know, I'm really excited to get into this project and start adding power. And just see what it gives us. So, guys, I'm super excited about it. So, we're going to wrap up the video there. I'm going to put a bunch of additional footage in here. Feel free to check it out. This road, even with the damage from the past hurricane, is still absolutely gorgeous. So, please feel free to just kind of check out the 360 footage. Check out, just check out. I'm going to be quiet for a while and just kind of ride and try to show you what the Blue Ridge Parkway looks 1 year after Hurricane Helene. So, like I said at the beginning, if you see anything that you like, comment, and subscribe, and share the videos. You know, sharing is, you know, the algorithms of YouTube have really kind of shifted, and we're sharing videos. Even if you just copy the link, to you know, text it to somebody, it counts. It counts towards the algorithm. And that really helps out, and it'll help push and promote videos. And the more it's pushed and promoted, the more it's shared, and you get the idea. So like, comment, subscribe, and share. I need to keep adding that in there. So again, thank you guys for watching. We're going to have plenty more coming up on this bike here. This bike is going to feature prominently in our channel, and hopefully I can get a first dirt ride in very soon to kind of get my impressions and really kind of see how the suspension is set up with a good ride down at Henry State Park. So again, thank you guys. God bless. Roll Tide, and remember, tomorrow needs you. Thanks, guys.